So I'd like to welcome back Mr. Nathan Chambers. People like to call him Taco, the Irish Taco, extra spicy. But someone I would have talked to a lot kind of at the start. I remember watching him on Cage Legacy. What was it? The Orchard submission was it?
Dead Orchard, yeah, it's like a two-arm bar triangle. Double
Yeah.
arm bar, yeah.
And I was blown away. It was kind of my introduction to shows, and we had a little bit of a conversation at the show, and like that we've caught up ever since. A lot's changed since we've last talked. We're going to go into it, but I want to thank you very much for coming on and giving me your time. You're fighting this week. How are you, and how are you feeling fight week?
Feeling good fight week. Obviously nicks and nags around the body. But that's always going to happen if you don't have little dimps around your body where you're training hard enough or you're in the right room. So feeling good that way. Feeling good mentally as well, preparation wise, and yeah, just on the weight cut now. So the low calories, water loading, peeing every 2 minutes. You know the buzz.
I've been with people when they're doing it, and I'm watching them, and it's literally we went with Maga, and he's just like, "I need to go to the toilet," and I said, well, "Cut the camera, cut the camera, cut the camera."
That's
But what the cause this is will be your eighth fight as an amateur. No, yeah, 5-2,
5-2. Yeah, this would be
seven. Yeah,
seventh. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
yeah.
Because we
I
have the cage
was.
MC one as well. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
obviously not good at quick maths. But
Seven, I think.
like, what kind of way do you come into fight week now? Do you notice like obviously your first one is always going to be what it is, a bit nerve-wracking. You don't know what to expect. How have you found your progression with fight week, and how do you manage it now? Like,
Well, to be honest, how do I word it? I'm still new to fight week because I've switched from different gyms and different coaches and all that, and just how different gyms do. Obviously, you've got your own way of doing it, but I'm always looking out for advice of how the pros will do it, how other experienced amateurs do it, and maybe two or three coaches, different pieces of advice from each one, and just try make my own cocktail of how I do fight week myself. But it's going a lot better fight by fight. So I'm just like fight week starts after Tuesday. You know what I mean? So if I'm fighting Sunday, it's only 5 days. I'm not taking the full 7 days for fight week. So it's training the Monday, training on the Tuesday, and just calmed it down there, and now just chipping away at the weight. So it's nice. It's a nice time to get a little break. Hop on the PlayStation a little bit as well. Once your sweating's done, bit of Minecraft, bit of COD Zombies. So it's nice. You kind of become more human after that stage.
yeah, I can imagine. I know obviously the weight cut isn't fantastic, but I like the fact that, like I said, you named out a couple of video games there because a lot of fighters talk about they find it hard to switch off. Whereas obviously that's your kind of your is that your go-to to kind of just not think about the fight, but that kind of distracts. It makes you're able to switch off. Whereas a lot of people want to keep training, whereas that's your kind of go-to. Because
Yeah,
I myself love video games
I
as
think
well. I
it's
used
a
to.
great switch off because if you have, let's say, Minecraft, for example, if you have a good world going there with your mates, you 10 minutes becomes 3 hours like that, and you're on the weight cut. You know what I mean? You can't have that much food, and that's 6 hours before bed. It just goes like that. So it's nice. If I'm watching fights and all that, you start thinking of your own fight and all that, and your thoughts can get the better of you sometimes as well. So it's good just to avoid that until closer to the fight as well. I think because if you're fighting on Sunday, Sunday is going to be complete fighting. Fight mentally, physically, before, during, after. Leave it all for Sunday. Enjoy the week while I can. So
Yeah,
I
and
think it's a great way to switch off.
yeah, I like the attitude, and like you said, it is a great way to switch off. I remember me, I haven't played them as much as I used to. I might turn them on. I don't really have the time, but I found them like that. Call of Duty was one I wouldn't have been into like shooter games, and I got into that. And I remember I'd get on it, and maybe I was off on a Monday, and I'd get on it at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and all of a sudden it's 7 or 8, and I
Yeah.
haven't really eaten much of eating shit. And it is good to just kind of turn off, and especially like I said with the weight cut, to take your mind off wanting to eat and stuff like that. It
Mm,
probably you still get the hunger, but that kind of occupies you. But
you're distracted, yeah. You're like, 2 more minutes, 2 more minutes.
one
20 minutes
more
later.
game, one more game, one
Yeah,
more round, one more round.
that's what it is.
Newtown, that was the one I loved. But you spoke there, obviously you changed gyms. I've noticed, I've been talking about it, and I actually asked you how you get there. You're in SBG now, so you're obviously with Peter, Sergey, Keane would kind of be the main. There's obviously there's Mihal as well, who does the
Mm,
BJJ. It's a fantastic gym. Conor McCarthy, Jordan Scully. Um, Alex Kyo, among Nikolai, there's Dowie. I believe I don't know if that he
there
hasn't
we go.
fought for a while, but I would presume he's probably coaching now at this stage. But
He
You've
does a
got really
Monday,
good.
Wednesdays. Good
You've
lad.
got
They're great. No, it's great. The team, absolutely love it up there.
and you travel because you sent me because I say, what do you do? Like, have you moved down this way or what's going on? And then you sent me the vlog of you, and I was like, this boy's get coming from like how talk to us about the travel, how much travel time it takes from your like kind of from A to B because I want to show people like the other side of MMA. It's not just fighting, the
Mm-hmm.
dedication you put in because a lot of people wouldn't do that commute to work, and you're doing it to get beaten up in the gym. And
Get assaulted, get legally assaulted every day up there.
especially if you're against Paul Fitzy as well. That guy's a madman.
Yeah. Absolute psychos. And even if you're coming up for a Thursday cardio session, you pay with your soul as well. Just leaving early 9 o'clock in the morning for that to be there for 12 is insane. Yeah, so uh, I'm lucky enough to have a good relationship with a lot of the members in the gym. Just my own personality, I guess, as well, and get along with people. So the receptionist, Grania, she's been an absolute blessing, letting me stay in her house whenever I need to, if the travel's just too much. But there's a bit of stuff going on at home and all that, so I'm just like, right, I kind of want to be at home to make sure everything's kind of going afloat and I'm not left out of the loop. So I'm doing a bit more travel that I normally have. But yeah, so I live in Drogheda, and from Drogheda, I live in Drogheda, and I train in SBD Nace, which is up there at Togers Industrial Estate. For me to get there, I'll use public transport because it is the cheapest way to go, and just you'd be so bet up after training that wouldn't be worth driving home half the time. So we start off by getting either the bus or the train, depending on how the traffic is. Probably a train, if not the bus, and we'll go to Dublin Airport, and from Dublin Airport we'll go to Nice, which will be on the 726 bus,
The
which
green
is
bus. I'm
the
well
green
aware
bus.
of it. When it is
Disgusting.
going and it's not broken down or late.
Yeah. Or fucking air conditioning, man. In the summer, that was absolutely horrible. It's just a microwave. That's all that was. So it takes, whether I get the bus or the train, it takes 3 hours up, and then it takes 3.5 hours back. So every day it's 6.5 hours minimum. Some days I don't get back into my house until about 2 in the morning because you finish training at, let's say, 9 o'clock. Maybe half nine. You get showered and all that. You get a lift up to the closest train station, Newbridge. Hit that train. Train's not there for another 38 minutes. There's a delay. Bang, 50 minutes. Then you're in Houston. Now you have to get to Lewis from Houston to Conley.
Yeah.
You're at Conley. The next train's not till 11:55. Doesn't show up till 20 past 12. And then you hit Drogheda for about an hour and 15-minute train there. So you're not in Drogheda about 1:45 nearly, and you're just like, bollocks.
Wow.
You get home, you close your eyes, you wake up 8:30 in the morning. You have to be in the gym for 12 or 1 o'clock, depending if it's Tuesday or Thursday. Straight back to it. Rinse and repeat. So I'll stay up on a Tuesday or Thursday. I'll stay up in the gym the entire day because I'll help out with coaching as well. But they're the days I'll be up from 8:30 in the morning and I'll be leaving at 9:15 at night. So a full 12-hour shift up there in the gym working out.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
People don't even do that for their job and they're getting paid. And
Don't
you're
even get paid for
paying
it.
and you're paying to do this as well. I know we're talking like I literally 5 minutes from that gym. Like literally 5 minutes. I met Jordan Scully. He texted me one day, he was like, I'm at Newbridge train station. Because I talked to him, he goes, I'm at Newbridge train station. Remember when I had the sponsors, they gave me
Yeah.
gloves and stuff. And I was like, man, these gloves have been sitting there for ages. I just grabbed the gloves, ran up. I said, George, you want a pair of gloves? Was it gloves or shin guards? I think it was
Was it?
gloves. I said, there, take the gloves. And he's like, I'll post them. I said, I didn't give them for you to post them. I gave them to you because you're a nice person and you're doing all this travel. And they were sitting in there for a year. And I
Letting
said, you
dust.
just take them and there's a present for you to go home with. So if you're ever stuck in Newbridge, give me a shout, yeah?
Will do.
If you're ever stuck in Ubers like that, even if it's a case that to get you a lift to the train to get one quicker than the one you get because public transport, that green bus is a disaster. So you'd get that from outside there from the industrial estate, then into kind of near the post office and then shoot on up
Up to
Station
the train
Road there,
station.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even if I was even around Nace, I could pick you up and just bring you to the Salins train station, which might have another one. They might
An
have more
earlier train.
services,
Yeah.
but anyways, we'll stop talking about our transport arrangements. But how have you felt since you've joined in? Like we've talked about the team there, and there's a lot more. So I apologize if I missed anyone. How have you found the team accepting you into the team? Because you seem like I said, your personality, you're very easy to get along with. How
Mhm.
have you found being accepted in, welcomed in, and then your improvements. What have you noticed the most?
Um, well, look, back.
Guess who's back?
So, first and foremost, huge thank you to Peter Queeley for taking me in under his wing. So, whenever shit kind of hit the fan in draw or whatever, and had to make the definitive switch to be under SBG Nice, I it, Peter didn't have to take me under as easy as he took me under. I guess just making the effort to show up the 3.5 hours up, 3 hours back, and all that. That's one thing, but putting in your God's honest best work and trying to learn and take it. I think Peter sees that as well, and he's like, right, that's someone who actually wants to, you know, do something with this. Now, I'm definitely not the fastest learner. I'm definitely not the most effective learner, but I do truly appreciate everything taught in that gym and people welcome me in. So to make the switch to the gym, I've already knew a few of the lads. I was heading up at Max Valley every Tuesday and Thursday around October, November time last year, and that's when I was training in both gyms. And then hit March, I think it was about 2 weeks before me title fight. That's when I went full time up in Nice and said it to Peter. I was like, I'm going to be up here full time now. Is there certain things I have to do for you as a coach? They tick the boxes, boys. And he was like, you need to be into this class, this class, this class, this class. If you have energy, show up to these classes after, but these are the main classes. And, you know, just, I mean, I don't know how to word it really. Accepted, not fairly easy. I felt like I was getting assaulted and mean looked by a few of the lads at the start, but it's not. It was just like, he's fresh meat in the gym. Use him as your toy. But, you keep fighting out and try your best. And I'm still getting assaulted up there, but in the best way possible. Um, but yeah, I like tough training. I like hard training, and I think Peter is a great coach, very up to date with his styles of teaching as well and the techniques. So I think it was just a good match for someone who loves learning. He's someone who loves teaching. It's a match made in heaven for myself. So it was to be able up there with such great lads.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant as well. I would have conversations with Peter. I wouldn't see him that much, but what I love about Peter is he fought and he lost on Bellator, and he I think it was his eye, was it his? He had a
Oh
really
yeah,
bad, and he showed up to his fighters' fights the next day. He could have easily said, Sergey, Keane, someone, Conor McCarthy, can you take these guys up and do this? And he showed up, but he showed up like that. He showed up with the hood up with glasses, but he was there.
yeah.
And that's something you can't buy or you can't train. Do you know the sort of way? That's something that just comes, and I can see why he likes you because everything you've said to me there, right? And I'm taking this in a different perspective. When I was a manager in retail, if someone came up to me, I said, "See this boy? I don't care if he's slow at learning or if he's quick at learning. If that's his attitude, he's going to learn, and we're going to teach him, and we're going to teach him the
Mm-hmm.
best." And like you're saying, oh, you might not be the quickest learner. But what I found out in my short space of time in MMA is not who's the best or who's the quickest, it's who's left. Because how many people have left the scene even since you have come in and I
Yeah,
have come in.
that's fair.
So like you sound like you're there for long. Like doing that journey is crazy in itself. Like for me, I like people watch this and go, "What?" So that just shows your level of dedication and your willingness to learn and how up you are. And I love the attitude. But in terms of progression, you improve and you improve each fight. You might not always win each fight, but do you notice those improvements happening as the training goes on, or is it really when it gets tested in live competition that you see, okay, I'm much better now at such a technique or such a move, or do you notice it kind of in training as well because it is kind of live competition, but in a real back kind of a sense.
I find it more just because like I haven't really been getting as much fights in. That's why I've had to sign up for so many fights just before the end of the year. I'm just taking them all off now, just get myself a bit more battle tested. But definitely in training, I've found the the improvements. Now it might be something that we've done 3 weeks ago, and I'm starting to get it now. Little technique against the wall, working way better at that. Even my last fight against Cartmill, the one I lost, I still got a nice takedown against the cage. I don't normally go for them types of takedowns. I've never been really good at them, but it's something that's just been drilled into us up there in Ace as well. And I really struggle to get that in training because everyone there is so high level. And every time you do it, there's always a counter, and it's always a scramble and a counter and a scramble. It's like, am I doing it right? Am I not doing it right? But when it came to the competition and I did it, we've done that compared to other gyms, and that kind of ticked the box that I've been improving there as well. It's just hard to see in the gym because there's always an answer for something else. You know what I mean? Feed them this question, go and do this move, they've got a response right away. And that's what you're training with them so often, I guess, your training partners. But when I did it in the fight, that was something that kind of lit a light bulb up in my head. I was like, I've learned something new here, so I have. Or it's working. Not that I had any doubt that it'd work. It's just, it was nice to get that smooth run of it, though. So, yeah, I definitely think in training, it just gives, a couple sessions before the technique starts to work. But everyone's so aware of the technique, it's hard to pull off. But that's what makes the technique even more effective, because we're just all getting better together. We're all learning defenses of everyone's favorites, offensives, and just bouncing between that, I guess. So,
Yeah,
if
no,
that
I
answered
like
it.
that. I like what you said that there's counters and stuff, and then like you said with the counters, then because you said like the lads are gonna know you're gonna go for takedown, they're countering. Then do you find that is kind of branching off into different small learnings as well as okay, well if I go on like this, he can counter me like this. What do I do next if the takedown fails? So you find then if you don't get the successful technique that you want and they counter, have you learned then, okay, how do I defend their counter or put more offense on their counter? Have you had
Yeah,
little learners like that you've kind of picked up from the training sessions in this?
definitely. Like, not going to name any moves out just in case people's like, right, that's for us. So, say we're doing a technique, boom, everyone's smashing everyone with it, and then everyone's getting caught in this one position. But then there's some lad in the gyms after finding a way how to stop this from happening, and then Peter's like, oh, that's great. So now Peter's already running the little wheel in his head of like, right, what's the offense to this, and then the defense to that, and there was a day where we did like an experimental technique in the gym, and every 2 minutes, I was actually with Paul Fitzy, during that training session. It was like, oh, we could do this, and then I could do this, and we could do this, and I could do this. And it was just an infinite loop of this can happen, that can happen, this can happen when that happens. So yeah, it's phenomenal up there. It really is. Just the development techniques is insane.
Yeah, and I like that, and it's always evolving. And obviously, you're from a BJJ background, and if you look through the years, I don't know this person. He was told to me that at one stage there'd be like leg submissions was a big thing. I think Eddie
Yeah,
Bravo or someone, and then but then it was like okay, we found out how to counter this, and then it just moved on to different sections. Have you seen your MMA game evolve kind of like that? That okay, I'll go for this, and you'll go for different areas, kind of.
yeah. I mean, I've trying to stay off my back as much as I can. As a grappler going to MMA, it was a bit difficult, but with the level of competition I was going with against Start, it was quite easy to play off my back as well. But up there in NASA is probably the worst possible decision you could ever think of doing is playing off your back. Even if you got a good guard, a dangerous guard, a crafty guard, does not matter. It's just not worth it. So, you know, things that worked for me not working anymore against the high level competition in the gym is forcing me just to get better in areas that I wasn't too confident in, maybe not too good in. But now it's all just, it's just sharpening up bit by bit. So it is.
Yeah, no, yeah, and I like that because like that, especially I find it like when people come from. I know obviously you saw me fights, but you obviously fought novice as well, and there's no ground and pound, and I find in novice, I don't know you fought novice. It was probably
I fought
better
novice
to
and I was
be
still
on the
getting punched
bot.
in the face. That was
Sorry,
ground and pound. Yeah.
was there
There's
in
a
case?
yeah.
Oh, it was cage legacy. That explains. I'm only joking. I'm only joking. Cage legacy is back New Year's Eve. It's a, I don't know if it is back New Year's Eve apparently.
December 31st in the Soho,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it would be a good show on New Year's Eve. The only thing is I'm thinking of the fighters. Who's going to want to diet during Christmas Day?
Oh, I've already signed up for it.
I just see there's a couple of people I'm looking at that I go, I know he'll be there, I know they'll be there. You were one of them, and it's just like it's a shame that it's been gone, but it's so hard to run the shows here,
Down
and
the
there's
south,
not much
yeah.
of a like because I like people. I won't say who, and it's not just their shows. Like people sometimes have lost money, and like that's not easy to do. And you're not doing it. We're not doing it when we're not. But people aren't doing it to make a huge amount of money. They want to give the platform, but you can only plow so much of your own money into it before you go
Yeah.
right, where do we go here? But yeah, No, so cage legacy. Well, okay, so you can't answer that question because you had ground and pound on the bottom because at novice, that's we'll skip past that. We'll forget that happened. But yeah, so you've got the fight coming up this Sunday, yeah.
Sunday.
So like when it comes to game planning now, is there any difference that you do? Because I remember before you said you just like to work on yourself. You'd look at them, but sometimes you'd find you get into it. Do you find that you've eased off now, or what way do you research the opponent, or do you leave that to your coaches?
Especially we look at the last fight. Like the last fight was meant to fight. Before Michael Cartmill, who was meant to fight? Um, some other fellow from his gym. Can't remember his name.
Lavery? No.
No, feck. Anyway,
McVeigh?
sorry,
Thomas McVeigh?
Thomas
Featherweight?
McVeigh. It was Thomas McVeigh. So definitely more of a striker. So we kind of had like a little plan of doing this, doing that, and just like that, he got concussed in training, and then we're like, right, new opponent, same gym, he's ready. Yeah, go on, let's take him. And Michael Cartmill, great experience. Let's go for that. Took him on grappler. I was like, shit, which didn't go my way, but when I was planning to fight a striker, it switched into a grappler. Now that makes no difference because he also took that fight in 2 weeks' notice. So I took that fight in 2 weeks' notice. Look, pen was in paper. We signed. We agreed to go ahead. So just that's why game plans don't really work out that well, I guess, until it's confirmed if that's the opponent. Like we never know. Like, but my opponent can pull out on Sunday and have a new opponent. I already accepted, straight into it again. So what's the point of the game plan of one opponent? Obviously, have a quick clip or two and see what their main move is if even, and just be aware of that, I guess, because everyone's got like a common trait to do. Like myself, then the fellow I'm fighting, he's got his own little common trait that we've got an idea of. So we've kind of got the precautions in place for that and how we're going to respond to that. But other than that, just my own game, run in, try to take it to my world as quick as possible and finish the fight. So game plans, win. Just try to keep it that way.
Game plan. Yeah, no, and I like that as
Losing
well because, like I
sucks.
said, it can change so quickly. I've
Yeah,
seen two fights, two shows I've been to where on the day the opponent has fell out, and Nate McGillian was it James Lavin stepped in against Nathan McGillian the day of, and then Nathan lost that, and then he stepped in against Joxer on the day of Nathan, and then he won
and he
that.
won that
So he was on
exactly.
both sides of it. Uh, so it's like that, and I think especially at your like amateur, focus on you, and especially because it's a new gym. I know you've had to fight under the gym, but you want to establish your own style. Peter wants to see what you want, what he wants you to do, and how
Mm-hmm.
you establish yourself. This, and if you worry about them, like I said, fighters can change. You know yourself how much you can improve from fight to fight.
Yeah,
I could watch your last fight and you could be completely different. You could come out, start
completely. Yeah,
kicking, start so that sort of way.
yeah,
It could be completely different. So I don't think there's too much. When it goes to pro, that's a different story because it
completely.
means more. The chances of getting pulled outs are less, and that's not saying about amateur. Well, people can get injured at pro as well. I think it's just it might be a bit more precaution, especially if it's a bigger show that
Yeah,
they won't want to
and
pull out.
5 minute rounds. There's only so much you can plan in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
There is only so much you can plan in 3 minutes.
Yeah, and like I said,
So
it could completely change. But you said you signed up for Cage Legacy. I obviously know because you're signed up for another show, obviously that I'm a part of. Is that
mhm.
kind of it for you for the year? Then is it? Well, that's a lot. That's three before the end of the year.
So I've got IUR this Sunday, October 25th, Clan Wars. Race is in November, isn't it?
Yeah, 22nd.
So that's September, October, November, December is Cage Legacy,
Is he
31st. So that's 4 fights. I've had 2 fights this year as well. So
6 fights?
that'd be 6 fights in a year.
Wow.
So I'll be happy with that. If we can get it done, look, some shows maybe injuries, opponent pulls out, maybe some shows won't go ahead. Just sign up. It's there. If it's there, if it's not, at least I'm putting my name in for them all and trying to get up there as quick as I can. You know what I mean? Not speed running or anything. I'm trying to run myself to the ground. It's like I'm training for what? I'm traveling 3.5 hours up, 3 hours back for what? To train
Yeah.
to become a fighter. Let's do the fighting now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if me coach Peter, that's what I said for the Rafe one. That Wrath that was coming up. It says put my name down for that. He goes already did. I was like perfect. He knows himself that right. Let's go for that as well. And the plan is to go to bantamweight for that fight as well. So explore a new weight class. see how we do with that. Hopefully, we get working with Yannick McGee for the nutritionist and that to drop the weight. And yeah, just it'd be interesting to see how this brings us into early 2026 and wherever that goes from there, I guess.
Yeah, that's a very hectic calendar at the end. But like I said, things can happen. I hear you've got a very tasty rat matchup. I don't know who made the match, but that will be released soon enough. But yeah, like that with the amount of how do you feel to have that amount of shows? Because like you said, a couple of years ago, kind of when you kind of started, there's only kind of Cage Legacy and IUR kind of just started as well. And
Mm.
now there's so many shows. Like Rat is a new show. You've got Gladiator, you've got Cage Legs, you've got everything's kind of coming back. I want to say there's about 10 shows. How does it feel for you to have that many options? Because like I said, there is cases of people pulling out, people getting injured, even yourself getting injured,
Yeah,
that you can bounce onto another show if you miss a show. How does that feel for you to have the options that we have right now?
I think it's great. Obviously, you're also trying to look for your coach's availability. Not that that's really an issue at all, but you know, fighting every now and then is all well and good. Only if you're learning in between fights, I think as well. I learned a lot in between my last fight and this fight coming up, so I think it's a great time to test it as well. But you know, if you are just taking the fights and losing every single one of them, you probably need to stop and knuckle down in gym and work on yourself. But that's not really been a case for me. You know, just lost the last one there. Well, then that went on a nice little streak. So I think it's nice just to have the calendar filled up. And I know, okay, right after I'm done this fight, won't fucking fuel up like a fat bastard and just be like bloated out to the tits. You know, be ready straight away, back training, and just already mentally focused on the next fight. And it'll be a nice way just to finish off the year. You know, as I said, that'd be 6 fights in the year. To be okay, boom, 6 fights in the year. That's grand. That's active. Because when you go professional, you might get one fight, you might get 2 fights, then you might sign to a promotion and you might only get one fight that year. So you're losing out on a bit of activity there. So try taking it all while I can now, because I'm seeing that with some of the lads in the gym who can't get fights. I'm like, shit, I may as well put my name in for them now and get the fights while I can. But I don't want to be in that position in case I am, and the inactivity catches up on you.
Yeah, because like that, you've been in gyms, like you know yourself, there's people that people won't fight and stuff like that, and I can get that if there's different experience levels. But like that, you're in there, you've got 4 shows. If you compete on those 4 shows, yeah, if it all happens, right?
Good.
Because you're not gonna have a Christmas, you're not gonna have the Christmas as expected, right? So if you actually do get to compete, you know what? If you get to compete on 2 plus Cage Legacy, I'm gonna buy you what's tacos? Did you like tacos? Obviously.
Tacos. Bit of
Boojum?
street food
Boojum? Do you like
tacos.
Boojum?
I like bit. I'm more of a bit of street food type of guy. Street tacos down in Drogheda.
Treat that. Do they have vouchers? Because I will buy you if you I'll get you
They
a
do
50
indeed.
euro voucher for that so you can go and eat on New Year's Day and you can eat as much as you want. I'll get you that.
Eating me heart's desire.
So if
Sounds like a deal.
sounds like a deal, right? There you go through
Boom,
the
there you
camera.
go.
So
Fiddles
if
X. Dave Farrell, let's go.
there you go. So and it's on camera now. I can't go
That's
back
it.
on it.
You better
So
post this now.
so sorry, Nathan didn't show up for the interview today. No,
No,
like that. If even if you just fight on that one, I nearly get you one because going through that during Christmas is going to be tough. But it just shows like we've talked about your dedication and your willingness to fight and willingness to learn and willingness to improve. And I really like this conversation. I'm going to let you go though. It's been an absolute pleasure. Is there anything you want to say before you go? Thank you for your time again.
uh, thank you for your time, and shout out to SBG Nace and me coaches, all my training partners, and all the shows coming up, taking me on and trying to match me and get these fights going. Too many sponsors to name them all out. But you'll see them on the fight shirt when I'm walking out, so keep your eyes peeled. And yeah, thank you. That's pretty much it.
Perfect. You're an absolute legend. I can't wait. I'm actually going to be at the show this weekend, so I can't wait to see you in person again because
Savage.
it's been a while. We haven't talked for a while. With all the fights you have coming up, we
You'll see
probably
me a
won't
lot.
talk for the next one. We might talk just before the rat or just after the rat one if
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
interested. And yeah, I look forward to getting this voucher for you. So because I, I
100%.
I I have a feeling you're gonna have at least 3 fights. I think you could potentially do the 4, obviously if you get matched. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you very much for your time. Have a good evening. It's been an absolute pleasure once again, Nate.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you very much, David. Bless.